Two men journey to the bars and restaurants of Scandinavia to find amazing beers, always with the same question.
Hey, what's on tap?
It's time to find out.
Day 8 of the ToOl Advent Calendar, and I think this is going to be the last day where I fly solo. So hopefully tomorrow Martin will be joining, and from here on out there'll be two of us going through the rest of the month. So the nightmare is over and the good times begin tomorrow. But today, ToOl is being thoughtful. You know, we've had a couple of low ABV beers, 3.8, 3.2, things like that. But, there is a lot of people that are just like, no, I don't want any ABV. I want a non-alcoholic beer to make sure that after we have all the celebrating and I have to drive everyone home from Christmas dinner, and while they've all been having beer and schnapps and wine and cognacs and all the other stuff that we have here in the Scandinavian Christmas times, I can have a beer and not feel like I'm missing out on the party in any way whatsoever. So we have Driving Home from Xmas non-alcoholic beer coming in at a 0.3%. So you can have quite a few of these if you wanted to. They say Driving Home from Xmas is our light, bright Christmas beer that still packs all the beautiful aromas and flavors in the bottle, but without the pesky ABV. So even the most responsible and teetotaling among us don't need to compromise on a good beer this festive season. Well, we've tried quite a few non-alcoholic beers on the show, and they run the gamut from palatable to, oh my god, that is hot trash. So I'm very curious to see what this beer brings us today. It does have Cara Munich 1 hops, flaked oats, Maris Otter Pale Malt, and Munich Malt. So I'm expecting something kind of malty and caramelly, and based on the colors, I'm not going to be disappointed on that level because it looks kind of caramelly in the glass. The head retention on this thing is really interesting. It's got some crazy carbonation going on here. It almost looks like a really thick German Pilsner kind of head on this thing. It's really thick and frothy and white. It's quite impressive actually for a beer of this caliber. Smell-wise, it smells kind of like malts and bananas a little bit, so that's a little surprising. Let's dig into it. Cheers. Yeah, this is one of those things where you kind of get this a lot with low ABV beers, where it just tastes like unfermented wort. So if you've ever brewed beer, whenever you reach the stage where you've brewed your malts and you've added in the hops, and then that's your kind of the beer you have before you add the yeast into it to make the carbonation. It tastes kind of like that, like it hasn't gone through the carbonation phase of the brewing process, which is quite interesting considering, like I said, like whatever they put in here to create the carbonation in the beer, it did I say carbonation before? So when you add the yeast to the wort to create the alcohol fermentation part, but the carbonation part here is, of course, the very end part, and it doesn't look like they force injected the carbonation into the keg. I'm really curious how they got the carbonation onto this, because it looks super creamy and drinkable, but the flavors are just like raw wort. Oh man, that is tough. I really wish. I think where I've seen low ABV, non-alcoholic beers really excel is when they go into the sour range. I think, like when we look at Mikkeller does Berliner Weisse that's 0.3%. That's really good. Probably my favorite non-alcoholic beer. Omnipollo does a Konx, Konx beer, which tastes like elderflower drink, soft, as they say. It's also extremely good. But this one is just, like the body's there, the look is there. I think if, you're drinking this, you would feel like you're having a beer with everyone else, but it just tastes unfinished. Yeah, that is a rough beer. So I'm gonna have to give this. I think I'm gonna have to give this like a 2. It's not what I would probably go with if I was looking for a non-alcoholic beer to celebrate the holidays with. But who knows? Maybe with some like really fatty foods, maybe it would change how I felt about the beer itself. Maybe it would go well with that. But just on its own, I'm only gonna have to go with the 2. All right. Well, that was day. I don't know what day we're on. Day 8 here. So tune in tomorrow for day 9 and the return of Martin. Enjoy.
This podcast is part of the Pod Syndicate family. For more criminally compelling shows, articles, and conversations, head to wearepodsyndicate.com.